Hello everybody, Reggie Time here with my first video of November. It was going to be a Sky Poker review video from some hands I recorded yesterday, but that's too much effort, and since then I've played around 2,500 hands on iPoker, and I just basically tagged every hand that I've played that's been over 50 big blinds, and I've won or lost 50 big blinds. And we're just going to take a look at them all. Some will be pretty boring coolers, some might be more interesting, who knows, but we're going to take a look at them and let's just put some content out there. Tonight, on the 1st of November 2021 at 7 p.m, Duesenberg is scheduled to stream some UCops from Sky. That is in doubt because he's on a weird sleep schedule at the moment, but I haven't seen him around all day, so maybe he's gone back to Bobo's and he'll be up in time to play. Who knows? But do go and check out Duesenberg at 7 o'clock just in case he's streaming. I'll put a link to his channel beneath the video and hopefully he'll be on, and we get to watch the great man go absolutely bonkers when he's getting binned by inferior players and probably some superior players that turn up just for UCops. And while we're on the subject of UCops, I just want to share something with you. So hang on a moment while I find it. So this is what I wanted to share. It's the Sky streamers who put a little poster out last week, but I haven't done a video since then, showing all the scheduled streams of this. I said tonight's Duesenberg, hopefully he's on, but who knows. But here's the rest of them. Every night of the week, every night of UCops, all the way through until Sunday the 7th of November. One of the Sky streamers will be putting a show on for the lads. I think it's fair to say Craig's done all right. He's had 2 nights with some pretty deep runs. Phil looked ready to put a bullet in his head last night. I watched the start of Phil's stream, then I played some poker, so I don't watch streams now when I'm playing, so I ducked out for a bit. Came back towards the end of his stream, and he looked like he was ready to put some Pink Floyd on and start the car engine in the garage with everything, with all the fucking doors and windows shut. We've got Mystical and Swan on Tuesday, both infrequent streamers, but should be a good watch depending on which one you go to. Well, not depending, whichever one you go to watch should be a good watch. Craig on Thursday, PKR par. He'll be doing marbles and probably running deep in something with some incredibly outrageous and outlandish fucking play. If he hasn't already topped himself, Phil's back on Thursday. Back to Craig on Friday, so we'll actually see some good poker at least once this week. Craig again Saturday, the different Craig, the bad Craig. And I believe he's going to be getting pissed out of his brain on shots, which is always a good watch. Goes a bit mental to midnight though. And then we're back with Phil closing things out on Sunday, assuming he hasn't gone broke by then. And I think on Wednesday, Par is going to be joined by a special guest, Anya, a Discorder. I believe that's happening, but could be wrong. But yeah, go along and support these lads. You can see all the Twitch IDs in there, so stick them in Twitch, give them a follow, then you'll be alerted when they start. So that's all the housekeeping out of the way. Let's now crack on with looking at some poker hands, shall we? It says a lot of these will be pretty plain. Nothing much to them. We're starting off with aces. What a surprise for one of my videos. And this isn't my normal standard open size. But we had this guy in the big blind who was clearly off his fucking rocker. So I just wanted to make a larger than usual open. 2.5x has been my standard almost all of the time. But against this guy in the big blind, we could even go bigger here. We could go 5 bigs, whatever. But we decided to go 3.5. He did call, of course, because why wouldn't he? We, of course, flopped upset. We bet. He calls. Turn brings a flush card. He checks. Bet again. I mean, it's not the best of turn cards. He can have some flushes, I guess. He can have. I mean, he's playing a huge VPIP. He can have lots of stuff that's semi decent here, but he can also have lots of absolute shite. So we bet. He just ships it in our face. There's no folding top set to this guy, of course. So he called. And I don't remember this hand, so I have no idea if this is a winner or a loser. River's a brick. Oh, deuce. Deuce 6 suited. Nice one, mate. So yeah, that was the first hand of many. I think these, I hope they're all going to be in chronological order. Could be wrong, but I hope they are. They're not in like all wins and all losses. We won't be able to guess the results of each hand by whether it's a winner or a loser. So I'm presuming it will be chronological. Here we have two kings again. Oh, surprise, Red just got a premium hand when he's opening the pot. Another fishy player calls out the small blind. Mr. PKRBR, is that like a hybrid of PKR Par and Duesenberg? Is that like a big fan of them? And he doesn't know which one he likes best, so he's just like, I'm going to be all of them, PKR and Duesenberg. Probably not, but it's an interesting name, given that I'm very close with the Sky Streamers. Anyway, try flop. Our opponent leads into us. I mean, his bet's too small. I hope a raise here. I think we should definitely raise here. I mean, against a fishy player, there's just too many hands he can just call with Queen X, 10-9, 6-9, 6-5, 8x. You know, of course, he can have some better hands too. He can have some 7-8, Queen 7, maybe. Is that loose? Maybe he doesn't have the Queen 8s and the Queen 7s in the small blind, but he obviously can have some value. He can have some value with beating, and he can also just have some random nonsense that won't fall to a raise. So we did raise. He called. Turn is a 7, which, you know, it's not an ideal card. I guess he can have some 7s in his bet calling range. But no one we should be like really scared of, I wouldn't imagine. But clearly I was scared because I checked back. Not sure why I would do that really. Still get tons of value from Queen X, 8x, 10-9. All the hands we mentioned in the flop, we can still get value from all of them. And only a small part of his flop range has improved on the turn. So don't think I like my check there too much. River 7, so we now have full house. And I remember this guy now. This is like one of the first hands that I'd played with him, and I had no idea what this meant. Yeah, I mean, what should we do here? Do we just call, or do we jam to get value from Queen X? You know, he's either got a 7 or a Queen here most of the time for value, and then he's got some bluffs that I'm going to call. Like, he has got like a random 10-9 or something, 6-5, 6-9, that he can't call a raise anyway. So who's raising here to get value from Queen X? It's just obviously never folding, and who's just calling because scaredy little nip pants. I just called because I'm a scaredy little nip pants. And of course he had the 7-9, and yeah, we lost a big one there. Well, not a big one, but 50 odd bigs. And we move on to another pocket pair. We've got some guy who just open ripped for 34 bigs. We've got 2 10s. I think the only question here is, do we just call or do we re-isolate? Normally here, 100 bigs deep, I would just shove, but we are 164 bigs deep with this player. Now, if we shove, we obviously need to have a really strong hand to call, but if he does call, then we're fucked. But if we just call in and he shoves, what do we do? That's like the only question here. Don't care about him. Don't care about him. But 160 odd bigs deep. Do we just call here and then, you know, just assume if he shoves, he just has 10s crushed? Or do we just shove here and not give a fuck about him? I went with the call. Guy behind just like randomly flicks it in. And we beat the Queen 10 and the Queen King, which was nice. 2 8s. Are we ever going to play a hand where we don't have a pair? So we just complete here after this guy open limps. Got this maniac in the big blind, who of course makes it 6x. Why wouldn't he when he's playing 64-31? He calls, and we just need to call here and just set mine against this dude, I guess. We don't flop a set though. So what's the line from here going to be? I mean, this guy's got a 64-31 with a 60% 3 C bet. It may be more than that. I mean, I don't know what's up with Hold'em Manager. I mean, sometimes I don't fucking know. It doesn't show all the hands you've got against people anyway all the time. So that number could be slightly different. We checks through. Oh, we turned the set. Must have thought there must have been a reason why this one was in there. We lead out for 10.8 big blinds on the turn, and we get a fold from the whale, and then the guy apparently only got 3 hands on calls. And then we fill up on the river. How interesting. And I just shoved the river. I guess I'm just hoping this dude's got a queen. So we shove for like, whatever, just over pot. He does call. And he has the Queen 5. which is kind of unfortunate for him. But don't play the Queen 5 off in the first place. These games were good last night on iPoker. Played a session this morning, they were nowhere near as good. But this session, I think we're looking at hands. Yeah, we are looking at hands from like in the early hours from last night. I think there probably will be some hands from this morning though. Here we have the Ace King. We have opened. Razor Raoul has called out the small blind. He was a fun guy. Look at these stats: 89-39. We get squeezed by a pretty tight regular. So I guess the first question is, do we just call and allow this guy to come in? Or do we just put the 4-bet in now and get it in and run it? Again, another hand that I do not remember. Knowing me as I know me, though, I wouldn't be at all surprised if I call in position to allow this guy to come in, because this is the guy we're going to get the value from. And I do just call, and the guy we're going to get the value from folds. So, fuck me. This guy now bets 1/3 pot, which I presume he's going to do with most of his range on this board. So I don't think we can go anywhere just yet. Jack on the turn. He now checks. And I guess our question here is, do we bet to try and take him off some like pocket pairs that he's got, like 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s, that type of thing, which he almost certainly would squeeze with this guy in the pot? Or do we just take our free card and try and get there? It's a difficult one against a regular because, you know, he's in a toughish spot with like his under pairs to the queen. But is he just going to check fold them? You know, I mean, what are we trying to represent here when we bet? The like just didn't 3-bet pre-flop, just caught the flop, now wants to start betting. I think we're going to have like a lot of floats in our range here. I think we're going to be over bluffing here some of the time. And Ace King does have some showdown value. It's beating Ace 10. It's beating. Well, it's not beating much, I suppose, but I don't know. Anyway, I decided to check back. 4 came on the river. An opponent then block bets for 8 big blinds. Oh, I remember this hand now. Yeah. I mean, well, obviously, you know I'm going to raise because all these pots are hands where I've won or lost 50 big blinds. So, and there isn't enough in this pot yet. But is this a shit raise? What am I trying to represent? I mean, I wasn't even thinking about what I was trying to represent here. It was very much more just, this is a very obvious block bet. I think we just call and lose all of the time to his, like, I don't know, whatever, pocket 10s, Jack X, Queen X. I think Queen X probably bets bigger, to be fair. This looked very much like it looked to me like a pocket 9s, pocket 10s, Jack X type hand as played. And I thought I could take him off it. So I raised to 40 big blinds. We have to make it pretty big. I think we can maybe even go a little bit bigger than that. I'm not sure because there's 50 blinds in the pot. And this guy, he couldn't call quick enough with the Ace Jack. And I felt a bit salty about that, like, because, you think you're trying to make a hand like that fold. But when you think about how I played my hand, I mean, what am I really representing here? I don't have 2 queens. I guess I can have a set of deuces. I don't have a set of 4s very often anymore because another 4's come. I didn't bet the turn, so I don't have a set of jacks. So my line's bullshit. I felt salty at the time, thinking, fuck off, mate, come on, you've got to fold there. But he doesn't. He made a good call. And my line was bullshit. Aces. I know how to play aces better. So we got a limp from a very loose passive guy. We've got a tight regular who doesn't play a full stack, who was isolated to 4 bigs. We've got another loose guy in the button who's called. We squeeze it up to 15 big blinds, and that's plenty big enough given no one's really sat with a super big stack. If we were 100 bigs deep with this guy, I probably would have made this 16 or 17 bigs. Anyway, he calls. Deuce 5-6. Obviously, really good flop for us. I elect to bet just under 3rd pot. He snap shoves. I snap called. And he had 2 jacks. Again, another pretty boring, pretty standard coolerish hand. Don't think I like his raise on the flop. I mean, I guess it does okay, but it's protecting against like my ace kings, ace queens, etc. So I guess I don't hate it, but What do I fucking know? What do I know? Not a lot sometimes. So here we have the ace jack. We open, get a flat from a whale, we get a flat from a reg. We flop as ourselves a top pair. I think this is a board I'm not going to bet very often, so when I do bet, I think we probably should just go with a biggish sizing. I've got like a 40, 60, 80% pot button on iPoker, and I hope to see myself use the 80% pot button here, which it looks like I did do. Got the call from the person we wanted the call from, and the person we didn't really want the action from fucks off, so it's going well so far. I think we need to barrel here. I think probably we could go bigger than that, actually. Yeah, that looks like I've used like the 60% pot. And then we get... this is the same guy from earlier, isn't it, who did that, the massive overbet on the river. And, yeah. What do we think about this one? This is the guy who earlier just, like, had the quads and overbet. Yeah, this guy was giving me... It was a pain in my ass, to be fair, was this guy. Because he's playing lots of pots, and he just kept putting me in the bin like this quite often. So what do you think about this one? I mean, he's representing a 5. He's pretty loose. Can he have some 5x here? I mean, I guess he can have some 5x, not too much. That's when he's coming my front door. No, he's not. I thought somebody just randomly walked in my fucking house and oh, my wife was home early. So what do we think here about his raid? Do we have to just call here as played? Do we have to call, or should we have just bet and then folded to a raise? This is one of my age-old leaks. Bet folding is not a strength of mine. On review, I think we should just bet this river for like 24 bigs, maybe 20 bigs. Hit my 40% pot button, get called from all his worst Jack X. That he's always going to check back on this board. I think I misplayed this hand because we shouldn't be checking. It's a bog standard, just block bet 40%. 4-2 raise. I did the second worst option. The worst option would be bet calling, of course. And I check called, and of course he had the 3-5 offsuit. And he binned me for 70 big blinds. On to the pocket jacks. We 3-bet. This guy was like doing a shit ton of min raising. At first, I thought he was like pretty loose aggressive when he first came to the table. But he's got a pretty big gap between his VPP. I barely 3-bets at all, and he's got a low one when self flop. So my initial read on him was loose aggressive. Now it's kind of like just fishy guy. But he was playing multiple tables, so who knows? But he felt like it feels like a bit like a fish in the end. Anyway, we go for the 3-bet out of position with our jacks, and Grizzly Bob calls out of the big blind. We flop ourselves on overpair, and in a lot of situations, I think this should be a check. Not a good board for our range, etc. But against a fish, I hope I just bet, and I hope I go at least like 13 big blinds. 17, happy enough with that. He calls. Queen on the turn. Shouldn't have too much Queen X. I think we've chased a lot of Queen X out with our flop C-bet. You can still have some 9-8, some 9x, some 8x. That maybe call a bet. I think the only issue here is sizing. We've got exactly a pot size bet left. If we go pot, is he still going to call us with a 9 or an 8? We don't really want to check on this board. There's just a plethora of draws out there. We don't want to check, have him check back, and then see basically any card 7 through king maybe hurting us. Maybe the king wouldn't hurt us. So I would imagine I'd just shove here, which I do. He calls. 5 on the river, which should be a good card. And he had pocket 6s. He was an absolute non-believer of the highest order. Here we have pocket 4s. Not sure how many hands we've got to go. Not sure how many hands there are to look at here. 1 second while I pause to check. Plenty more to go yet. So we're on the pocket 4s. I wouldn't be surprised to see me just complete here if it limits to us. But we do get a race in the button. Unfortunately, Holden manager's fucking not showing us what size the race is. It's 4 big blinds. We call it, then we get a really weird squeeze out of the big blind. He calls again, I think it looks like. We call again. We're in the business of flopping sets, and that's precisely what we did. obviously check to this dude. He bets 2/3 pot. We just call. Turn queen, we check. He goes all in. We call. Over ace. And he had 2 kings, so that is a shame for him. But Mickey squeeze bigger cheap. 7/8 suited. That's a rare occurrence, rare event on this in this video. It's going to be. So we raised to 7/8. We raised to 7/8. We raised to 2.5x as usual. We get 2 callers. We flop a pair and a flush draw. Multi-way here. I don't know what I'm going to do here. I guess we just bet. We've got decent equity against 2 fish. Guess we just bet. Start trying to build a pot. We do. Get called in 2 spots. We turn a flush. Run like Reggie. I mean, we need to bet big again here. If I go less than like 16 bigs, I'd be disappointed. 17.9, happy with that. Get a call from the guy in the button. Board pairs the river. Yeah, we can't be scared of full houses here. I think we hear from sets on the flop or the turn. So I guess we're just going to pile. We do. He calls. And he had a very slow played aces that completely fucked him up the ring piece. Unlucky Maria. Or she. Sorry, she. Unlucky Maria. That's a bastard for you. Aces. Happy days. We raise. We get called in 3 spots, so not so happy days. I mean, I'm not sure if we're supposed to check here, because we're going to want to check most of our range, multi-way. But we do have 2 potentially fishy players at the table, so I wouldn't be at all surprised to see me bet, which I do, 80% pot. We get called by the guy. We don't want to be called by this 11-3 dude. We don't mind getting called by these 2, but when he comes along, his range is going to be a lot tighter than these 2, but there's nothing to be too scared of just yet. We turn a set, which is fucking delightful. We go big again, and that we've gone from hoping he doesn't have a set of 8s on the turn or a set of 10s to hoping, please, please, please do have the set of 8s or the 10s. He calls again. River is a jack, so now it's like, what queen X does this dude have? Because that's all we're worried about, of course. Not worried about any other hand. But can he have queen X? I mean, king, queen, ace, queen, but obviously we've got all the aces, the kings out there. This is a spot of game where I struggle out of position on the river with like what is now become like pretty marginal holding. We've gone from basically having the nuts. I know it wasn't the nuts on the turn, but it was as good as thereabouts, to being quite a long way from the nuts now. I mean, you can absolutely have Jack Queen. You can have King Queen. There's a lot of stuff out there that blocks queens because of that the board texture. So that he is like, some queens are taken away from him, but that doesn't mean to say he can't have any. The problem is, if we bet, is he going to call without a queen? And if we check, is he going to bet without a queen? So is this just a check fold? Is this player going to like value bet his set of 8s on the river and like force it, like take it off best hand? Again, another shitty spot, and it was a spot where I knew I wasn't folding. If I checked and he bet, I knew I wasn't folding. River's out of position. This is like, without question, the hands down biggest leak in my game is playing rivers out of position with marginal holdings that are pretty good but not nutted. So I ended up just shoving because I knew he wasn't folding. Oh, sorry, nearly shoved. And then he did. When he jammed, it's obvious we're fucked, but we need like 3.7% equity at this point and, not folding. And of course, he had the king queen, and we lost 80 something big blinds. I'm going to 3-bet the ace king here to 12 big blinds. And we're going to get this whale or potential whale coming along. I think against like recreational type players, I don't really want to start check calling them. I'd rather just try and stay in control of the pot. So I wouldn't be surprised to see me lead out here. Probably quite small. Probably no more than like 10 bigs, I wouldn't imagine. Oh, a check. That's disappointing. Because I think we should probably try and retain the lead here with our 2 overs, our gut shot, backdoor flush draw. Our opponent bets 1 big blind. We just call. We tear the nuts off on the turn. We check again. This time he bets 24 big blinds. I mean, I guess we just call again. Play worse, Reg. Play every single decision point worse. Pre-flop I'm happy with. Flop, check, call one big blind, whatever. Turn, check, shove. I mean, fuck me, I played this hand badly. I do not deserve to win this pot. I have not played this hand well. But fortunately, this guy just overplayed his hand, and we got max value in a spot where we didn't play particularly well. 2 nines. So we've got absolute maniac opening. We got a regular just calling. When he just calls this guy, I mean, he's only got a low 3-bet, it seems, but he doesn't 3-bet this guy to isolate him. This range is just shit. It's just weak. So we go with squeeze, and he calls. So we managed to fold out the guy with the widest range, and then get action from the regular. And we flop top set. I check, which I think is reasonable on this board. I think our opponent's probably going to have quite a lot of pocket pairs here that we could just bet and get value from. But in general, I think we probably want to be checking this board quite a lot in a 3-bet pot. Because we're going to have a lot of ace king, ace queen, etc. that just isn't going to want to bet. So when we do have a strong hand, we want to probably check some. I don't know if we should just bet though for value, because if he does have pocket pairs, he's not going to fold. Am I worried here about trying to protect my ranges a little bit when that's just all bullshit and just good hand, big hand, big bets sort of thing, which I think is probably still the best strategy in 2021 in microstakes poker. But anyway, we check a game, which I don't like. That's on that board. I think that's a bad check from me. I think we need to start betting. There's tons of stuff we can get value from. Our hand now needs quite a decent amount of protection. So don't like my check. He builds it up by betting. I then rip. Yeah, of course you can have 2 jacks. Maybe you can have 4 combos of queen 10 suited, but I'm pretty happy with the situation. He calls. River 7, which doesn't look good, but I knew what the hand was because I think iPoker turns the hands up in advance. And he had the ace queen, so I mean, I think whatever happens there, we probably still felt him, because even if he 3-bets, I'm going to call out of position to set mine with this guy still to act. So I think whatever he does there, he's just going to lose a big pot. But I mean, just 3-bet your hand pre, dude. You got a 78.52, and you're flatting his open with ace queen. I mean, come on. Do you want to make money or not? We have a 10 jack offsuit here. We isolate a limper. We pick up a hitchhiker on the button. And then the limper calls. Flop a gut shot. Hope I continue betting. I do. And the original limp caller calls. Of course we turn Broadway. Why wouldn't we? He now leads for full pot. Now please don't raise here, Reg. This is not a raising situation, Mr. Regan. Good man. And then the river breaks out completely. He only bets 10 bigs now. I mean, obviously we just go all in. He calls, and he had the king 6 and decided on the river he was just going to keep us honest. So thank you to him. Ace king of hearts. Very, very loose passive guy. 3 X's under the gun. We 3-bet to 9 bigs. He calls. We flop ourselves 2 pairs. We c-bet. He calls. Turn ourselves a flush draw. I mean, is this a mandatory bet? I mean, yeah, we have a ton of equity. But I mean, is he just going to fold too many hands here? Or is this guy just so loose we just need to keep betting? I'm thinking, he maybe has hands like pocket 10s, pocket jacks, pocket 9s we can get value from. Probably doesn't have pocket aces, probably doesn't have pocket kings, probably doesn't have pocket queens, can have ace queen. Do we just check back in, do a bit of pot control? Because that betting here and getting raised would kind of stink. Or do we just keep betting for value? I elected to just keep betting for value. He check raised me, and I remember this hand. He snap check raised me. I don't think there's anywhere we can go just yet. Although we're not loving this situation anymore. We do call, hoping to hit a heart. We don't hit a heart, and then he jams the river. And at this point, I kind of knew was fucked, but just in case, we're not. I mean, again, I think I've played this hand pretty badly. I think we should probably find a fold on this river. I think the turn call's mandatory. I think this river can just be a fold. But because I'm a filthy fucking calling station on rivers, I did call, and he had the queen ace. Ace jack suited. These aren't chronological. These are just whatever. They're all done by pot size. I don't fucking know. Anyways, we isolate the limper with our ace jack suited. Pick up a hitchhiker in the small blind, and this guy calls. We flop the jack, which is nice. We c-bet. That's annoying. That button's there. C-bet 11 bigs. He raises. And it's hard to know if that's just a fucking min raise or not. It's hard to say exactly what we bet, but I'm presuming it's going to be. I guess we bet 11.6. We call. Turn is an 8. He bets half pot. I'm a filthy station. Oh no, I'm not. I'm a filthy let's go all in guy. I guess I'm just doing this for value. His check min raise flop. He's bet the turn. We beat some value hands. I guess we certainly beat draws. We beat value hands. I don't hate my line. I guess against someone who's. It's only saying 2 hands there, but he's got my blue tag, so I've got more hands than that. So maybe he was just like an uber whale, pretty aggressive or whatever. 7 comes off on the river, which doesn't look like the prettiest of cards for us, but he had the jack 10, and we dragged down another good one. And these pots just getting bigger and bigger. It's like we're building up to like a crescendo of like monster pots. I think we're on the last one actually here, are we? This could be the last one. So we've got blue tag limping. We ignore these stats now. Blue tag limping, another blue tag limping. We've got a tight regular 6x in the button. I'm not going anywhere with the 10 jack of diamonds with these 2 guys still in the pot. So we call. We flop nothing. Our opponents are kind enough to give us a free card. So we now turn a flush draw and an open ender. So we have a ton of equity. We lead out. We get min raised again by this dude. Now, last time this guy min raised us, or maybe this is the first time, but either way, we know his min raise the last time was with Jack 10. I don't know if this time was before or after it, and I can't be asked to go back and check. So we just call. We tear up a flush on the river. We lead straight into him. Don't want him checking back, of course. If he has got a king or something, don't want him to better check back. He min raises again. This guy loves to min raise. And obviously we just pile it in. He calls. And he just had the queen 9. He was min raising for value on the river with 3rd pair no kicker. So good for him. And is that them all? Yep, that is them all. That's all the hands. So hope you guys enjoyed this format. I know it's not been like super deep with strategy, but I've got some thoughts on that I'm going to share. I share with the Discorders too. Is I was almost toying with the idea of like maybe taking a YouTube hiatus and talking less about poker strategy in the Discord, because there's a lot of lurkers kicking around, and I understand that, and there's nothing against them for doing it. But in the Discord, there's like probably, I'd imagine most of or a lot of the Sky cash game and tournament regulars are in there, like hiding away, not really chatting with anybody, but like reading all the chats. So they know when people are on a downswing, they know when they're feeling low, they know when they're not feeling confident. They get to read the hand histories that people discuss and like figure out a little bit more about how like the like chatty Discorders approach poker well, so they can absorb all this information without giving anything back. And then with my YouTube channel, so many players like just ask me at the tables, when's the next video coming out, Reggie, blah blah blah. A lot of regulars do it, and that's the only thing they ask me about. There's no chat about anything else. So I also know like quite a lot of Sky regulars watch my videos, and again, that's fine. It's my fault. I put them out. It's on me. But if I'm putting out like videos when I'm kind of showing my strategy, good for good or for bad. You know, I'm not pretending that I'm like sharing loads of fucking secrets and tips and how I'm fucking crushing these guys. What I'm saying is they're getting to see how I'm playing parts of my range, and I only get to see how they play parts of their range at showdown. So I feel like I'm just giving too much information away. And that was like years ago when I started doing this, I was doing it because I wanted to find, you know, like people to coach when I was like closer to like a good reg. Now I'm just like a mediocre reg, so I'm not looking for people to coach anymore. I still make money and I will continue to make money, but I'm not good enough to coach people now. So I've got like there's nothing to sell in terms of that YouTube coaching. For YouTube, then I went on to use YouTube to like sell rate back on the apps. So I had a reason then to I was giving something away, but I was getting more back. You know, when I was doing it, I was giving some stuff away with the coaching videos, but I was getting it back because I was like getting people approaching me for coaching and making some money from it. So that's fine. It's give and take there. Same with the apps. There was give and take there, but now there isn't anymore. I don't get anything from YouTube. I don't get anything from adverts or anything like that. I've tried recently to like link up like a little deal with some party poker affiliates. That didn't work out too well because like nobody really followed it, which is again fine. I'm not salty about that. And then recently I've tried to do the BBC thing, and again, no one's really followed that up. So I've got like the YouTube channel, the Facebook group, which if I'm unable to monetize it, I have to question that. Well, why are we still doing it? Because you know I'm giving too much information away. Now the Facebook group's fine; it's just pretty static. People just post hands now and again. It's just like a little chat group. Not really the place to discuss poker, but it's got a lot of members and there's no real reason to close it. But the YouTube stuff where I'm maybe getting a couple of hundred views and a lot of those are my regular opponents. Why? Now I've got a question to myself like, why would I want to like give too much information away about like pretty niche spots? So if you're doing like a 20 or a 30 in a live play video on Sky and I'm playing against some of the guys watching the videos, and I'm not going to play differently in the video to try and throw them like a red herring. I'm just going to play how I play. So then they're learning a lot more about me than I'm learning about them. And basically now poker, because I don't make like a ton of money from the apps anymore. That's kind of gone away now. So like, my only incomes now are really my profits from the table and like my day work, my 12 hours a week respite. So it's really important that I make enough money from poker that my wife doesn't say, come on, Reggie, it's time to start getting more hours somewhere, mate, and I've got to go somewhere and have a boss again and all that. I really like my lifestyle. I like my work-life balance, and I can support it with poker. But the question is, do I want to? Is it in my interest to continue making YouTube videos where most of my regular opponents get to see how I'm playing? You know, they get to see spots that I'm playing well or spots I'm playing badly. They just know more about me than I know about them. I'm giving this information away, and it has to cost me money. It doesn't make me any money. That has to be like negative net loss. Now, a lot of the Sky Twitch streamer guys, they know that streaming for them is negative EV. But they do it because it's fun. And I do this because it's fun. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy discussing poker. But those guys are maybe, and I don't know how much they're making, but they've each got, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 subs. At least they're making 70, 80 quid a week, a month out of it, plus any like, donations they get here and there. So they're not getting rich. And I know that's not why they're doing it, but at least they are like a little bit compensated for the EV they're sacrificing. Whereas I'm not compensated at all for the EV I'm sacrificing anymore. So I need to question like whether I'm going to keep doing this for that. And we do have some like pretty loyal viewers of the channel. You guys know who you are, and I would feel bad because I know there are some guys out there who aren't in my games who just enjoy watching my stuff. Fuck knows why they do, but they do. So I would feel bad about that. But I mean, I've got to take care of myself, haven't I, first and foremost. Now, doing these types of videos where we just review all the big pots and I don't go too deep into my thought processes, that's fine. I had no issue doing that. Um, but if I decide not to stick with iPoker and go back on Sky, then I think I probably will be giving a little bit too much away, and perhaps then it's maybe time to reconsider how I create YouTube content because um, like showing like all my hands and exposing my thought processes to my regular opponents clearly isn't in my interests. So yeah, that's the end of that little ramble. We'll finish up by just showing you guys how we've done so far. Let's make this so it's a more suitable size. Reg, drag it down as well. Oh, fucking get the angly one. That's the one, Reg. So far we've played 2,365 hands since last night. We've been winning at 24 bigs 100 with our all-in EV 20 bigs 100. Not going to show you the rest of the stats. There's no reason to. And the grass looking pretty good too. Red line's not great, but I don't give a fuck about that as long as the green line's okay. This red line went down quite sharply at this point. This was when I was like playing short-handed at maybe 2 or 3 tables that I didn't want to leave because there was some like aggro whales at them. But because there was aggro whales at them, I was just getting run over. I was playing 6 tables, but 2 or 3 of them were 3-handed, I think, or maybe 4-handed. One of them was heads up. So I sacrificed a fair chunk of red line. But yeah, that's just the way it goes. And then when the tables filled up or they broke, and we got back to like, and maybe this is like a session where we've been 6 tables, my red line kind of levels out again. But we're losing at the moment. We're losing red line at like 283 bigs over 2,300 hands. So it's still only like minus 12 bigs 100. And there is a reason for that because of this period. If this period didn't happen because of the heads up nature, we'd probably been at like less than losing red line at less than 10 bigs 100. And if my red line's losing at less than 10 bigs 100, I'm happy and I don't do an awful lot about it. I just leave it as it is. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please do leave a comment if you've reached this far. Hit the like button if you haven't already. And yeah, as long as I keep playing on iPoker, I'll probably keep doing these sets of videos. There probably won't be an awful lot of Sky content coming because of the reasons I mentioned earlier. But that's it for now. Probably, who knows when I'll be back. If I get enough volume where I can just review 10 to 12 hands like this a day, I'll just do it every day because it's not a big deal. So I guess every time I've got 10 to 15 hands to look at that have been won or lost over 50 bigs, I guess we'll just come and make a video there. And for as long as I play on iPoker, who knows? Tonight I might have a bad session and think this is shit and quit. You know what I'm like. You never know. Or they could keep coming for weeks and weeks or months and months. If I can make a reasonable outlay in the games. But yeah, definitely fucking off now. Take care, everybody. Have a good evening. If you're a Sky player, you're playing New Cops tonight. Have a good night. Try not to let it completely break your spirit. And yeah, catch you on the next video. Bye for now.